What's up, everyone? I finally got around to making this video. This is one of the first of many new kinds of videos I'm working on. This one in particular has to do with, of course, NFL Week 1. Let's go ahead and get into what you guys are here to watch, and that is my 2019 NFL picks, judging down from Week 1 to Week 16. My playoff picture, my division winners, who I think will win the division. Feel free to comment or say what you guys disagree or agree with me. Again, this is all just kind of based off what I've seen and what I've read. A little bit of bias. I mean, come on, Patrick Mahomes. You gonna bet against him? Anyways, let's get to what you guys are here to see. Week 1, everyone's coming off fresh. Everyone can kind of predict what everyone is going to look like this year, just based off last year and the moves they made in the offseason. And I mean, you really can't judge too much on preseason. You're one of those guys that's like, yeah, my team won all 4 games in the preseason. I feel sorry for you. All right, so getting on with Week 1 of the NFL. As you all know, started off with the Packers and the Bears. Packers beat the Bears. I call it. All right, so getting started with Sunday's games. You got the Rams at the Panthers. The Panthers, I think, are not a team they used to be. The Rams did get whooped in the Super Bowl, which is what 90% of Americans did not want to see. Nobody wanted to see the Patriots win again. Let's just be honest here. I'm going Rams to beat the Panthers. Pretty easy pick if I'm being honest. Next game, Redskins at Eagles. Pretty simple pick again right here. The Redskins are in rebuilding mode. The Eagles are a big contending team in the NFC this year. It's in Philly. The Eagles have this game at home. Eagles win it. It's a pretty no-brainer pick on that one. The Bills at the Jets. Now, this is a game no one's going to watch. I mean, let's just be honest. No one's going to watch this game. Unless you're a fan of either team. You're not sitting there going, I can't wait to see this Jets game tonight. I still don't think the Jets are like a playoff contending team, but I think the Jets win it. So the next game is the Falcons at the Vikings. Now, this one is probably, in my opinion, I'm going to say it's going to be a tough game. It's in Minnesota. The Vikings did look pretty good last year, but I do think Atlanta is going to come in, and I think they're going to upset Minnesota. And I call it an upset because it's in Minnesota. That's going to be one of my upsets this week, if you want to call it an upset, is I think the Falcons win. Falcons take it. Ravens at the Miami Dolphins. Ravens are pretty solid. I think this is an easy win for the Ravens to take while in Miami. Next up, Chiefs and Jaguars. I mean, I don't even have to go and tell you who I'm picking in this game. Easy. Chiefs win it. Do I need to say more? Chiefs win. Jaguars lose. Texans at the Browns. The Browns, in my opinion, are a great team this year. I think at home, season opener, they win. Colts and Chargers. Andrew Luck retired. The Colts are still a Colts team, even though they're luckless. I think the Chargers come in. They're at home. The Colts don't have Andrew Luck. That doesn't mean the Colts are a terrible team now, but that doesn't mean they're still a top team this year. Chargers win it. Bengals at the Seahawks. I take the Seahawks at home. 49ers at the Bucks. I don't think the Bucks will win at home. I think the Niners take it. Giants at Cowboys. We dem boys. It's in Dallas. Cowboys win. Easy. Here is my upset of the week. Now, you can call this, it's not an upset. They're at home. My upset of the week goes to the Cardinals at home to beat Detroit Lions. The Lions will be an average team. The Cardinals have a lot to prove, but right now they're not good. I picked the Cardinals to beat the Lions as a pretty big upset of the week. You have a lower tier team against a middle tier team. Cardinals win at home. Big Sunday night football game. You have the Steelers at Patriots. It's in Gillette Stadium. It's the season opener. Listen, as much as I want to say that the Steelers are going to win, and beat the Patriots. Look, I want to say my big upset of the week pick is the Steelers to beat the Patriots, but I'm going to play it safe and say that the Patriots will win at home. Maybe if it was in Pittsburgh, we'd be having a different conversation about an upset. But Patriots, I think, will take it at home. This leads me to the 2 Monday Night Football games. The Texans at the Saints. Now, I think that's going to be a really good game to watch. I still think the Saints are going to win at home. And the last game of the week is the Broncos at the Raiders. Who cares? The Broncos will take on the Raiders, and I don't think it's going to even be tough for them. I think the Broncos come in and they sweep them. Take them out. Anyways, so that's my picks of the week. Next week, before next week's games, maybe I'll do another video and see how I did with my picks, and then kind of go from there and see how well I do this year. I don't know. Tell me what you think. If you don't agree with my picks, we'll discuss it, and you can try to tell me why I'm wrong. All right, so now it's time for the division winners. I'm going to pick who I think will win the division, who's, top, from 1 to 4 each team. This doesn't entirely mean that if I pick a team to win the division, they're going to win it and nothing's going to change my mind. This is right now, if I had to pick who's going to win the division to, take the first 4 spots in the playoffs, which is what I'm leading up to next. This is who I think will do it. Okay, so we'll start with the NFC North. You have the Lions, the Vikings, the Bears, and the Packers. Now, I think Lions, no doubt, bottom of this division. I think that Matthew Stafford, I don't really know what to say about Matthew Stafford, really. I mean, he's been a pretty good quarterback over the last, I don't know how many years he's played now. But I don't think that the Detroit Lions are a contending team this year. The Minnesota Vikings, I think, are kind of the stepchild of this group in the fact that they're not going to see the light of love that the Bears and the Packers will. Okay? I think that the Vikings will do well this year. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be a problem this year. That's just my prediction on that. But I think that Vikings go number 3. Now, some people are going to get mad at me and say, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Vikings are number 1, number 2 at a minimum. That's maybe the case, what some people believe, but then you have the Packers and the Bears. If there was any indication of what these 2 teams are this year, Thursday night's game kind of showed you. The Packers defense looked really well. Aaron Rodgers had a pretty decent game. He started off pretty bad, and then he got better. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great year. I don't think he's going to have record-breaking year, but he's going to have a good year. But the Bears defense is a solid defense, and I've believed in the Bears defense for a few years now. They're a great defense. If I had to choose who's going to be number 1 and number 2 in the NFC North, that is a tough pick. Even after Thursday night's game, I'm going to say the Bears. All right, Bears are going to take number 1. Packers are going to be number 2. Now, you may say, oh, it's a loaded bull, but you know what? I mean, they won. Packers won. They should be number 1. Maybe, but let's see how that defense holds up. No hate on the Packers. I got friends that love the Packers. I think Packers are a great team. I think Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. I think Trubisky didn't look that great. I think he'll have better games, but that offense is going to be the fault, but I think that their defense kind of makes up for it. I don't know if the Packers defense is going to stay that good, right? You don't know that. So for now, they're number 2 and the Bears are number 1. And it might change. We'll see. Heading to the NFC South, number 4, I'm going Bucks, right? I don't think that the Bucks are the greatest team in the NFL. I think they got a couple more years, maybe. See what kind of direction they go in. Number 3 is the Carolina Panthers. Pretty simple pick right there. Look, Cam Newton's a great quarterback. I don't think they're contenders this year. I really don't. I don't think they are. I think that in that division, the Saints and the Falcons are the teams to beat, and I don't think Carolina will. I take the Falcons at number 2. Not a diss to Falcons fans. I just think that when you compare the Falcons to the Saints, and you have Matt Ryan versus Drew Brees, I'm going to take Drew Brees. I mean, I think a lot of people would say the same thing. Again, the NFC South and the NFC North have 2 teams that are both good enough to take the division. But in my opinion, I think it's going to be the Saints. But I could change my mind in a few weeks. We'll just have to see. NFC East. I think the NFC East is pretty self-explanatory, right? I think the Giants are the worst team in the NFC East. I give the Redskins number 3 above the Giants just because I like the Redskins. I mean, I don't love the Redskins. They're not like my favorite team. They got Alex Smith. Shout out to Alex Smith. But I think they're at least somewhat better than the Giants. I don't really ever think the Giants are that good. I just think that the Redskins are slightly better than the Giants. I think the Cowboys come in at number 2. Cowboys fans are going to hate me for saying that. Cowboys fans think that their team is the greatest. That's just how they are. But listen, the Philadelphia Eagles are a contending team this year. They are the better team this year. And I think the Eagles take that division. It's pretty self-explanatory. As far as the NFC West goes, I think this one's also really self-explanatory. I think that the Cardinals are the worst in that division. Now, that's not a knock on my home team, right, Arizona, but I don't think the Cardinals are going to be anything this year. Now, they may surprise me and become a playoff contender. Maybe. Kyle Murray may be the future. I don't know. But I don't see them as not the bottom of this tier. I think the Niners are right behind them. Don't get me wrong. They made some good picks and they got some players and things are looking up. But until I see something, I'm going number 3 for them. Number 2, I'm going Seahawks. I think they're the better team. I think that Seahawks and Niners will kind of fight for that number 2 spot, but I don't think they're going to fight for the number 1 spot, and that's going to go to the Rams. The Rams are going to take the division. Simple enough, right? So I think that's pretty easy to tell. All right. So now moving on to the AFC division, we'll start with the AFC South. I think the Titans are going to take the final 4th spot in that division. I don't think the Titans in that division are the number 1 team. I don't think they are. I think the Colts, if Andrew Luck would have not have retired, they definitely would be higher up my chain right now, maybe the number 1 spot, but now they're the number 3 spot. And the reason they're the number 3 spot is without Andrew Luck, what is that offense going to look like? I don't know. You don't know. They could be good. They could be bad. But I'm not going to stake it and say they're number 2, number 1 anymore. That number 2 spot is now going to the Jaguars. Why? They picked up Nick Foles for their offensive quarterback, which they needed for years. And their defense is a pretty solid defense. Boom. You're a number 2 team in that division. The only reason you're not number 1 is because of the Texans. And the Texans look great. They looked really good last year, and I think they're going to be really great this year. I think Texans take the number 1 spot in the AFC South. AFC East, pretty self-explanatory. I think that the Miami Dolphins take the bottom spot, 4th place, but that could easily be swapped with the Bills. I'm not really too sure with these 2 teams, how I feel about them. But I'm just going to say 3 and 4 at this point. Not really sure. I think the number 2 spot's going to go to the Jets. I don't put them at number 2 because they're this great team. I think they're an average team. But they're not going to beat the Patriots. Look, they're really not. I hate to say it. Everyone hates to say it. Patriots are going to be number 1 in that division. They're going to take the division very easily. Moving on to the AFC West, right? I think, in my opinion, the Raiders are the worst team in the division. Don't sit there and tell me, oh, they got Antonio Brown. And John Gruden, they're gonna change the game. Raiders are the worst team in the AFC West by far. They're gonna do horrible. They're gonna be a losing team this year. That's how I see it. Too much drama, garbage. I think that the Broncos and the Chargers are gonna fight for the 2 and 3 spot. Now, hear me out here. Either one of those teams can be the number 2 team. Broncos and the Chargers, either one of them. I think the Broncos will do average. I don't think they're going to do great. And the deciding factor of who's taking that number 2 spot, possible wild card spot, is going to be defining on how they end the year. Don't feed me that same garbage that the Chargers are this Super Bowl contending team and Phillip Rivers this and the Chargers that. Look, every year they do the same thing. They start off hot, right? Then they play like shit, and then they do okay. They maybe make the playoffs, and they're out. Every year it's the same with the Chargers. I don't think they're going to be any different. The number one spot is very obvious. It's going to go to Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, MVP. Patrick Mahomes, MVP. The offense is the best offense in the NFL. I'm not going to argue that with anybody. Don't at me. They take the division. The final division to talk about is the AFC North. Easy in the sense that the fourth spot's going to go to the Bengals. I don't really think anybody's expecting the Bengals, unless you're a Bengals fan, for them to take the division. They're not. This is going to be, in my opinion, again, where the NFC North, you had the Bears, the Packers, and the Vikings kind of duking it out for the number one spot. I think it's the same thing with this North, right? AFC North. You got the Browns, you got the Ravens, and you got the Steelers, and each team wants that number one spot, and each team could potentially take that number one spot. But I'm not gonna sit here and make it up. Each team's gonna fight for a spot, and in my opinion, I think the Ravens and the Steelers are gonna fight for the number two spot, right? Look. Steelers fans are going to argue with me and say you're the best team in the AFC North. Maybe you are. I guess we'll see when you guys play the Patriots. But listen, you and the Ravens are good, solid teams this year. You are. One of you is going to take the number two spot, and the other one's going to take the number three spot. And it's not because you're that bad. It's because the Cleveland Browns right now are the deciding team. Are they going to take those picks and those moves they made in the offseason and become number one? Or are they going to flop and be the number 3, number 4 team, average? Right now, I think they're the number 1 team, and I think that the Ravens and the Steelers are battling out for the 2 and 3 spot. So those are my division picks. That's what I think the division looks like in Week 1. All right, so the last topic of this video, my potential 2019 NFL playoff picture. Look, it's not that this is exactly how it's going to be. Yes, I did make those wild card little half slashes. I'm very proud of that. Here's my prediction, all right? I think that NFC-wise, the Saints are going to be the number 1 team. I think that the Rams will be the number 2 team. I think the Eagles will be the number 3 team. And I think the Bears will be the number 4 team. There's your 4 picks in order for that NFC playoff picture. As far as the 5th seed goes, it's going to be a battle between the Packers and the Falcons. One of those teams is going to take it. The other team could take that 6th spot. If one of those guys does not do well, then I think it's going to go to the Cowboys or the Vikings. Look, that doesn't mean that it's only going to be the Packers or it's only going to be the Cowboys. Look, all I'm saying is there's 4 potential teams that could take those 2 spots. And I think it's either going to be the Falcons, the Packers, the Cowboys, or the Vikings. 2 of those teams are going to land in those wild card spots. And it could be swapped too. I mean, the Bears could be that number 2 pick that I was talking about earlier, and we swap them. Now the Packers are the number 4 seed, and the Bears could be the number 5 seed. I mean, this is just what I'm kind of predicting or guessing as far as potential teams that could make the playoffs. And last but not least, on the AFC side, I think that the Chiefs, and this is a bold prediction, I think the Chiefs will take the number 1 spot. I think the Cleveland Browns up the Patriots and take the number 2 spot. Patriots will take the 3 spot. Texans will take the 4th spot, leaving the potential 2 wild card spots to go, in my opinion, to one of these 4 teams. Again, it could swap if they ended up taking the division. Whereas I could see the Packers taking from the Bears and even the Falcons taking from the Saints, maybe. As far as these picks go, I think 2 of those 4 teams are going to make it. I don't potentially think that it's going to be the Ravens or the Steelers. In all honesty, it could be both those teams. 3 teams from the AFC from that division, 3 teams from that division go to the playoffs this year. Who knows? But I do think that the Chiefs will go 1, Browns 2, Patriots 3, Texans 4, and for your potential wild card teams, it's going to be the Steelers, the Ravens, the Jaguars, and the Chargers. And I don't really feel like putting the Chargers there because I think just like every year, they're going to kind of look great. They're going to kind of look great, then do terrible. They're gonna look great, then do terrible, and then barely try to make a spot. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. If I had to pick a potential team, that's who it's gonna be. In all honesty, I could see the Ravens and the Steelers. I could see the Ravens and the Jags. I could see the Steelers and the Jags. Anyways, that's it. That's my picks for the 2019 playoff picture. My division winners as well as week 1 picks. If you guys like the video, let me know. Maybe I start doing a little bit more every week like this. If not, it's cool. I had fun. We'll see how week 1 plays out after Sunday. See how well my picks did. See if my predictions hold out for the year. And I'm gonna stick to this. I'm gonna stick to this unless something really urges me to change it. But that's kind of where I'm at for the year. Thanks again for watching. If you guys liked it, let me know. I'm not gonna be the type of guy that tells you to like and comment, subscribe, and tell me this and do this. I mean, if you guys like my stuff, keep watching it. If you don't, it's cool. I'm not going to be upset. If you're on Facebook or a different platform that you want to tell me your piece on this, do it. Let's talk football. It is football season. Football season is now. I can't wait. I'm representing Kansas City Chiefs till I die. Kansas City Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. That's my bold prediction. My bold prediction for the year is Kansas City goes to the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes is MVP for the second year in a row. Throws over 5,000 yards, throws over 50 touchdowns. Bold prediction. That's my bold prediction of the year. If you really want me to go bold, I'd say they go 19-0. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I don't want to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But hey, that's what I'm going. Bold prediction. Anyways, let me know and catch you on the next one.